Y'all, before we even get into it, this ain't just a podcast. This us talking to the block, to the moms, to the homies lost, to the ones fighting demons in silence, to the kings and queens that forgot their crown. We four brothers coming straight from mud, hitting the web not for clout but for principles. We them night brothers, speaking truth to the mic, shining through the struggle, bringing dark to the light. Block to your soul, let the message ignite. Podcast for the people, every word take flight. Gritty like the grind, hell first we strive. Social heat in the streets, trying to keep hope alive. 4 mics, 1 mission, make the people revive. It's the night time, tune in, feel the vibe. We 4 deep like corners on the block, mics hot in the lab, cooking truth non-stop, no gimmicks. This ain't clickbait chatter, this heartbeat, struggling soul, blacker than batter. Got fam trying to heal, broke bills on the table. Talk health, mental wealth, if we able, we enable. From the hood to the web, we built this escape. Tired of seeing kings trapped in a lowercase fake. Click clack on the keys, we ain't just pie, we preach it. Street slang, health hacks, real talk preaching. See the system rigged, trying to cage our minds, but we cracking the code like it's Columbine. I'm the brother with the blueprint, knowledge in my stash. Turn trauma to armor, pain into cash. 1 mic, 4 voices, no filters, no mask. We ain't just streaming, we building that path. We them night brothers, speaking truth to the mic, shining through the struggle, bringing dark to the light. Block to your soul, let the message ignite. Podcast for the people, every word take flight. Gritty like the grind, health first we strive. Social heat in the streets, trying to keep hope alive. 4 mics, 1 mission, make the people revive. It's the nighttime, tune in, feel the vibe.
Oh yeah, 4 mics, 1 mission. Nighttime, nighttime.
I seen young blood.
Good evening, everybody. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's up, my brothers?
Good to see you guys. Nacho, how you been, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. Thankful, super thankful, man. I'm thankful that Mimi Lee is in the place to be, and Margaret Nick is too smooth and too sweet.
Yes, Margaret Nick, it was so good seeing you. So good seeing you. Even though it was at my grandmother's funeral last week, it was so good seeing you, Margaret Nick. Thanks for the support.
Well, good evening, Vanessa Turner, to Mimi Lee, and to Margaret. As you come on board, say hello so we can give you a shout out tonight. Guys, we have another great show in line. And as we always said, the Night Brothers Show is the show where your opinion matters. So we welcome your questions. We welcome your comments. We love having the feedback from you because this is the show where we want to hear from you. And we have a great guest lined up again tonight, guys, as you already know.
Absolutely.
Kenny, it's that time.
Man, I just want to lay in the shade, get in those shade, you know what I mean? And pontificate on life. We vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind go take us. If it's good, we make it contagious. Said we vibing, laying on black sand beaches. Thinking of what life teaches. So glad and fall from the deep end. Said we vibing under the city lights. Wherever the wind gon' take us. If it's good, we make it contagious.
Indeed. Yes, we are vibing tonight. Welcome everybody once again to the Night Brothers Show. And like the song says, we are definitely vibing tonight. And this vibe tonight is a great one. We have featured guest, candidate for Annapolis Mayor, Mr. Jared Littmann, come back to join the show. Jared's been once before and he's to come back, and we're glad to have him back on board. We're going to talk about all aspects of his campaign, the primary election, the upcoming general election, and his overview of Annapolis. 10,000-foot overview, we like to say, of Annapolis. We're looking forward to a great conversation with him, but as we said, we welcome your questions and comments as well. Tonight, the Night Brothers Show welcomes back Jared Littmann, a man whose journey began in Wayne, New Jersey. Raised by parents who valued education, community, and fiscal discipline, Jared learned the importance of giving back from an early age. His father, a dedicated professional, taught him how to manage money wisely
and shared a love for baseball that still inspires Jared today. His mother, a co-founder of a local community education group, planted the early seeds of public service in Jared's heart. Jared went on to earn a degree in engineering and public policy, focusing on environmental engineering at Washington University in St. Louis. He then attended law school, spending nearly a decade in legal service, helping others and building a reputation for integrity. But when the opportunity came to help run K&B Ace Hardware, an Annapolis institution, Jared and his wife Marlene didn't hesitate. Together, they bought the business, raised 2 children, and became proud fixtures in the Annapolis community. In 2013, Jared was elected Alderman of Ward 5, working hard to make Annapolis a better place for everyone. Now, running for mayor, Mr. Littmann won the Democratic primary in September and is well prepared for the general election in November. His campaign has raised over $100,000, along with the support from a wide range of community leaders. Jared has earned endorsements from County Executive Stuart Pittman, former Mayor Ellen Moyer, friends and acquaintances all over the city. But Jared's more than a candidate. He's a coach, an outdoorsman, and a guy who loves soccer, tennis, camping, and even a little fantasy football. He's a real person with real plans for Annapolis focused on community, opportunity, and a brighter future for all. Tonight, he joins The Knight Brothers Show for a powerful, unfiltered conversation about the future of our city. Welcome back to the show, candidate Jared Littmann.
All right.
Hey guys, great to see you.
All right. Great to have you
Thank
back.
you so much for that warm welcome.
All right,
Welcome
great.
back.
Man. Always great to have you with us, Jared. Good to see
Thank
your
you.
face.
It's my
man.
pleasure.
I'm sure you've had a busy day as always. You know, these days, every day and every hour seems to count for you at this time, I would assume.
100%.
Yeah.
Let me congratulate you for your win.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
First steps, indeed.
Thank you. It was very exciting, exhilarating to get that kind of support. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Amen.
Got a good guy with you too. Your treasurer is a good friend of mine also. So
Oh yeah,
definitely have
he's a
some
great
good company.
guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, he does important work as well, educating our youth.
Yeah,
Oh,
I work with Mr. Dillon. He's a great guy. As a matter of fact, Lenny, I have a present for you from Mr. Dillon too. I got to pass it on to you, okay?
Who's it? Andre Dillon?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Andre, okay. All right.
Yes, he's his treasurer.
Andre's been a guest here.
That's fantastic, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a guest a little few weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Yes, he was. He was.
That's what's up.
Well, look, audience, we're going to dive into some questions, but feel free to log on. This is your time to ask firsthand questions to a candidate that's going to be largely responsible for running the city of Annapolis. So if you have a question, this is a great time to reach out and ask a question. But we're going to start it off with who's starting it off? I think.
Real quick, this is a great time also for you to call your friends, whoever else, so they can get on with the future mayor of Annapolis and ask him some questions. How about that?
Kenny.
Absolutely.
Brother, go right ahead.
Absolutely. First of all, Jared, welcome back. Congratulations on
Thank
your new success. You're beating my cousin.
Sorry. You know, she
No,
ran a
it's
very
all good.
respectful-
It's
she ran a
all
very
good.
respectful,
You're going to be a
campaign.
great mayor. You're going to be a great mayor for the city of Annapolis, my hometown. But my first question is not just giving you congratulations. What was the biggest lesson you drew from this race? And how does that ready you for this big race that's coming up in November, the final countdown?
You know, I think one of the biggest things I learned is before I started running, I felt like I had the skills to be mayor and leading the city because I've led a lot of other organizations. But I felt like this other thing, being a candidate and going through the maze to get to that point, was a whole separate skill set that was a separate job. And what I really learned through the whole process was how valuable this process has been. By campaigning for 2 years, I've had all these opportunities to be in every community in our city, not only every ward, but every community, and talk with people who I've never met before, and old friends as well, and people who remember me from either my coaching days or the hardware store, or even people who I was in practice when I was a lawyer. And so just the breadth of knowledge I now have, having been a candidate for 2 years, has made me better prepared to be your mayor. And so I think that's really, I didn't expect that, and it's absolutely the case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I'm happy for you and continued success. That kind of takes me kind of to, like, I have my second question is going to be like a 2A and a 2B. Now that the general election is here, is there a strategy shift in campaigning for the voters from the entire populace of the city? And that's question A of question 2A.
Okay, I'll tackle that first. So I'd say it's different in 2 ways. So I've been campaigning for 2 years for the primary. Now the race for the general is just 6 weeks. And so while I had time to really get deep into details and meet every single person, we had something like almost 80 different meet and greets. We've had dozens of fundraisers. I've been to hundreds of different community events. And so the long period allows you to do everything. And we've knocked on over, I think we're at over 12,000 doors canvassing. And so we've been able to knock on those doors. So it's very different now. Now it's a sprint and at the end of a marathon. And so we're less focused on those events, but entirely focused on meeting voters in every way possible. So focused on door knocking in every community. You know, I was really excited to win 67% of the Democratic vote, but there's more room to get better. So I want to now reach the Democrats who didn't vote, the Democrats who voted against me, and then the independents and Republicans or people of no party who didn't get a chance to vote for me. And so now it's a much bigger pool of people I want to draw from.
Absolutely. That was a great segue. And that's going to take me to question 2B. Of the people you didn't vote for you, that didn't vote for you, said you got 67%. And how do you plan to get more of the Democratic vote or voters that are on the fence with the current state of politics, not just in Annapolis and in Maryland, but, you know, all over that we're seeing? A lot of people have like thrown their hands up and like, we're done with this. I work with people every day. I talk to people every day. And how do you plan to get those people, like you say, off the fence to vote for you with the current state of politics being in disarray that it is now?
Sure. So there's a lot of different strategies, and I'm trying to do all the above. Number one is, well, first of all, it was the backup to that is Rhonda and I both ran very respectful campaigns. We were never enemies. Neither of us were running against each other. We were both running for something. And so I we even have a history of a friendship. We served together on the city council. And so I'm optimistic that the people who voted for Rhonda voted for her, not against me. And so now that she's not on the ballot, that they are still, they know of me. I've been around a long time. People are represent me and talk about me in a positive way in communities. All of those things are very helpful. I've also been very successful, frankly, in continuing to build bridges with other leaders in the community. I'll be announcing shortly, so I guess I'm breaking the news here. State Senator Shanika Henson has endorsed me. Thank you. Other leaders on the city council who were staying on the sidelines, but now are comfortable getting in. So I have endorsements from Alderwoman Sheila Finlayson, Alderman Dewan Gay, other elected officials throughout the community that represent Annapolis and the larger community. So it's, there were a lot of people who didn't want to get involved in picking between Rhonda and I because we're both Democrats and we're both friendly with them. But now that Rhonda is not in the campaign and it's me and somebody else, I'm now bringing a lot of that support in. But to your second point about people who feel like nothing matters, nothing changes who they vote for, that's where I'm hoping they get a chance to really hear my message. Because like for young people, for instance, I'm talking about having a youth council, not as just a campaign tech tool or information, but actually as mayor and administration. I want young people to have a voice. I've been very deliberate on making sure my campaign team is very diverse, and not just in race, but certainly including race. but also in just in age and religion and economic status, and all the different ways that we can think of diversity, that everybody, there's a big enough tent for everybody.
Indeed.
Awesome, indeed. Amen. Awesome. Little bro.
That's you.
Oh, that's me too? My bad. Put it back up, lady.
Okay. I'm sorry. My bad.
So I got a glimpse of the question. I think it was about voter turnout.
Yeah. Why
Yes,
was
it
voter
was.
turnout so low in the primary? And that has been kind of like a little bit of a trend in recent major elections. And what is your plan to stimulate? You kind of touched on it in your last answer, but what are your plans to stimulate a larger turnout of voters for the general race?
So, first of all, the numbers. I mean, 28%. I'm not happy with that turnout. So let me just be clear. I wish the turnout was higher. It is higher, though, in 2021 when there was no Democratic primary. That's not a surprise. But it was actually even higher than in 2017.
Wow.
The turnout this time was 28%. The turnout in 2017, when there was a primary between Senator John Astle and Gavin, they only had 25% turnout.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Back in 2009, when it was a heavily contested election between Zena Pierre, Josh Cohen, and others, they had an 11% turnout. That number doesn't make sense to me. Why it was so low? But my point is that 28% is actually pretty good compared to the history of voting in the primary in Annapolis.
Right.
Now,
primary.
I said that's not just because it was better than historical norms doesn't mean that it was enough. We have a couple other factors to consider. Number one, weather always plays a factor, and it was a nasty rainy day, out of anybody's control. Number two, of the 8 wards, only 4 of them had contested elections in the primary. Again, that's beyond my control, but I think that the wards, like Ward 1 had the best turnout. Not surprisingly, they also had 5 candidates for the alderman seat. Other wards that had low turnout, there was no competitive race for the primary. So, there's different factors driving it. I certainly want it to be higher. I'm happy with the 67% who did vote, but I would love to have seen a higher turnout.
Absolutely. Big bro.
Yes, well, Jared, first of all, I just want to thank you for giving that question some context, because now that you broke it down to what actually took place, it makes sense. Still, your goal is to drive up voter turnout, but in context to what we've had in the past, it was above average, actually. Okay, so
it was.
I actually learned something with your answer. I learned something from your answer.
So did I.
Yes.
Thank you.
Turnout, I guess, it makes sense, too, for a primary if people kind of know who they wanted to vote for, and people get more fired up for the general election and come out a little stronger. So
I think so.
Correct.
So Jared, as we shift, as we shift here a little bit, a couple of things I want to discuss with you and ask you a couple of questions, and you can just delve into this any way you see fit. But
sure,
it seems like every political race has at least one issue that invokes real concern for the candidate and for the voters. It's that one that keeps you up at night, 3 a.m. You're thinking about it. You can't sleep and you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
What nags you about? What is it about the future of the city that kind of weighs on your mind at times and keeps you thinking, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to solve this. And as you're thinking at night, what one issue falls under that category?
I'm gonna have a hard time coming up with one. I'll try to limit myself to at least 3.
Okay. Break it down for you, brother. Break it down.
I think the number one question, not so much as a candidate, but as mayor, the number one concern has to be life safety issues. So, fortunately, we're lucky that major crimes are rare in Annapolis. But each murder, each instance of gun violence is heartbreaking, and even just one life being the victim of crime is horrible, and that's what makes me want to work very hard to make sure we can address these issues and bring down the possibility of that happening. So I guess that's one concern. In the climate that we're in now, switching gears with the federal government being on shutdown, with threats of military going into different cities, I give thought to what if there's essentially a military invasion of Annapolis, and whether however it could context, it's going to be could be very difficult. And related to that is when federal government pulls back funding, we certainly have a concern of pullback of funding as a possibility. And so partly one of my motivations is realizing that no matter what these instances that are going to be super challenging, we live in an amazing city, and we never want to forget what a wonderful city we live in with terrific people. We have so many volunteers and volunteer organizations. We have so many experts that are happy to volunteer their expertise. We have so many people that want Annapolis to do well and succeed, that I'm not going into this alone, that I'm in this with my neighbors, with my friends, and from people all over the city. And so that's what gives me hope.
Well, Jared, just to follow up on that for a second, you talked about the safety of the city. What's your relationship like with Chief Jackson at this point? Do you guys?
Yeah, I think I have an excellent relationship with him. I actually was just having some text messages with him earlier today. A hopefully future constituent, a resident of Annapolis, reached out with a very serious allegation and concern. And I'm not someone who wants to feed the rumor mill, so rather than going public with it, I just reached out to Chief Jackson. He researched the issue and made sure I got the information to address the concern. I know no matter who you have in that position, it's always going to be an extremely controversial position. The police chief is in a tough role. Whenever crime happens, people want to know how the police let it happen. And it's not the police's job to keep crime from happening. It's their job to solve crime. Now, they do have a role in to keep crime from happening. I'm not trying to absolve them of all responsibility, but really the responsibility of how to keep crime from happening is all of our responsibility, not just on the chief.
Amen.
So I've certainly heard him speak numerous times. We've had numerous one-on-one conversations. He's a professional, and when I'm in the mayor's seat, we'll have different types of conversations as well.
I understand. Okay, great. That's a great follow-up on that. As we continue on, Lanny, hold on, Lanny, we pull that down. Let's continue with our line of questions before we go to that stuff, if you would, please. The next question I have for you, Jared, and Lanny, if you can put that up on the screen so Jared can be able to see it as well, if you would. Okay. There are also going to be times when unpopular decisions are going to have to be made. And you have many constituents, you have friends, you have acquaintances, and sometimes the decisions you have to make for the good of the city may not line up with their thoughts or their way of thinking. How will you handle that, making unpopular decisions that can strain relationships that are good for the greater good for the city? Just talk about that a little bit if you could.
Sure. Fortunately, I have a lot of experience of having to navigate difficult relationships and situations. Going back to when I was an attorney for Montgomery County in the county attorney's office, your client agency wants to ask you to figure out a way to get something done, and you look up you do the research as a lawyer, and you see it's what they want to do is not legal. The way I approach all these situations, and I've had situations in business, sometimes you got to say no to an employee or to a customer even. And I've been on the city council, so I've had a variety of experiences of navigating. And what I've learned is a couple things. Number one, you got to do your homework. And so when I'm in a discussion with somebody, and especially if they want to present an issue or a side, I'm not just going to argue back just for the sake of being argumentative. I'm going to learn what I can, do my homework, talk to experts in the area, and find out what I need to know about the issue. And then if ultimately I need to say no to somebody, it's making sure that I'm explaining myself, explaining my reasoning, and seeing if there's an opportunity to not just reach a compromise, but still reach a win-win. And so I'll give you just a quick example, if I can, of an example of exactly this. When I first joined the council in 2013, one of the issues that the city was deep in without resolution was passing the city's first Forest Conservation Act, abbreviated FCA. And I'm an environmentalist. I brought in a version of the FCA that was very strict from an environmental perspective. And Sheila Finlayson, who I just mentioned earlier, I just received her endorsement recently. She wanted to make sure we got one on the books as fast as possible. So she had a clean version that was at minimum standards, and it was very clear. She articulated trying to achieve just minimum standards. My version failed. Her version failed. We both got reelected in 2013, and then we served 4 more years together. And rather than continuing to battle with each other, we worked together. So the two of us, with two other council members and experts on the city staff, sat with us for hours and hours, multiple meetings over multiple months. This was really complicated legislation, 70 pages of detailed legislation. And we worked through it, where by the end, neither of us felt like we lost. I was happy with standards for the environment. She was happy with protections from a business perspective. We both felt like it was good legislation. We got our council support. We got more than the 5 minimum that we needed. And we became friends, and we respected each other through the process. So much so that after I was no longer on the city council, she would continue to call on me to chair various task forces and commissions for the city. That's awesome. So, we developed a real trust and respect by working together. And that's my approach.
Well, that was a good way of a meeting of the minds and making sure that both parties had what they really wanted and got out of the situations. That's great.
That's what we need to do.
Last question I have for you. This part
Hold on,
is.
I just wanted to throw something in. What you just explained, it's amazing how that doesn't happen much anymore.
You're right.
That's what you call politics. You should work
together.
together.
Shame. It's a great example of how we used to work together despite our political viewpoints. And
yes,
I'm glad. I hope that you can bring that back in your in your victory to politics, because it's definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yes. Instead, like you said, Lenny, instead of just yelling at one another, talking to one another, having a conversation.
Yes.
And that's the way.
I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I've got faults, but I think one of the real strengths I have is what we're talking about is trying to keep a level, even keel personality and approach, and realizing that just because someone has a different perspective does not make them the enemy. And our best situations are, even if I'm trying to take us far up on something, if the community's not there yet, getting 5 votes isn't a win. I want to make sure that we're rethinking and considering what constituents and residents are saying, so that the community feels like they won in everything that we do.
Yes.
Amen. That's all I can say. Amen.
That's a great response.
Win-win.
But Jared, we a lot of times in positions of leadership, whether it's your own business or running in the city, money plays a big part in everything. And with that being said, with all the needs and petitions from different segments of the city, and you're going to be getting requests from everywhere.
Always.
How will you prioritize the city's budget? Have you thought about that? And do you have any kind of indication on how will you prioritize things with the city budget?
Absolutely. So there's 2 things I want to express there. One is we need to stop thinking about budgeting decisions in silos. So if you just ask me as an isolated, we're talking about police, and you say, does the police department need more money? Well, by itself, most of the time you're going to want to say yes. But the question I ask is, as opposed to what? Where else is that money going? So when we're discussing about cities' needs, I don't want to do it in piecemeal like that. It needs to be, we're going to be comparing police needs versus fire needs and public works needs, and what's our revenue? How can we live within our means and make sure we're not taking on debt? And so everything has to be in context of, if we're going to spend more money, I want to know where it's going to come from. If we're going to spend money on one thing, I'm always transparent on what are we not spending money on because we made that decision. So that's one line of thinking I want to share. The second line is, in coming up with the priorities, this is not going to be the Jared priorities for the next 4 years. This is going to be working with city council, city employees, and the residents. For instance, I'll share a little bit about my first 100-day plan. to give, and I think it will answer this if you bear with me for a minute.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
thank you.
So once elected, so in November, before I'm sworn in, I can't meet with employees as the mayor because I won't be the mayor yet. I'll just be the mayor-elect. But I can and I will meet with all of the directors and chiefs to start getting to know each other in this new context. I know all of them now, but I ask a lot of curiosity questions. I want to know things about their processes. I want to know where they're using AI, for instance. I want to know where their needs are for personnel. I want to know where their budget needs are. I want to ask them what their expectations have been, how they've been meeting those expectations, and I want to know what they, where they know they need to improve. And I'll tell you, anybody who tells me that they're perfect and they don't need to improve, obviously we have we have an issue. And so, you know, we need to be transparent to each other, and we will have those transparent conversations. That'll roll into December when I'm now officially mayor. I'm going to have a series of roundtables with all of the city employees who choose to participate. And these roundtables are in relatively small groups, 50 to 60 people, and we will tackle individual issues in a collaborative fashion, so that there's no one that will be put on the spot as being on record of being for or against something. These are going to be group discussions. And I'll have about probably a dozen or so that we can have every single employee be a part of it. I don't think any of the employees have ever been part of a strategic planning process like this before. And because I've been talking about it with city employees, I'll make another announcement for you right here. I'm proud to announce that I now have all 4 of City Union's endorsements. That's fire, police, and then the two unions that people often forget about, the public works employees and the clerical and technical employees. There's 2 unions are called ASME, is an abbreviation. So I'm 4 for 4 of getting all 4 employees, unions. And I think it's because I've been talking about including them in the strategic planning process. I'll also have opportunities for residents to participate online and in person, and it won't just be in City Hall. We will be in different parts of the city so that we can reach people where they are.
Wow, man. You know, well, first of all, we appreciate you for all the breaking news tonight, you know, with the endorsement.
Yes, indeed.
And your 100-day plan. And guys, we always say this is the place where you want to be when you want to get information. And tonight is a prime example of that. Thank you, Jared, for sharing.
Thank
just
you.
You know, I love the fact that you want to involve various sectors in the decision-making process and getting to know them early. That's a great idea as well. So, I have to applaud you for that, man. Definitely
Thank
applaud you. Appreciate that.
So it'll be a very abbreviated, fast process because the mayor has to get out the budget in March. In a typical year that's not an election year, you're working on the budget all fall into the winter, and then you get to roll it out. I don't have that luxury of having all fall to work on the budget. And so this process that I just described will be very compressed. It'll be fast. There'll be certain people who will feel like it's too fast, but the goal is to identify the priorities fast enough that we can include it in the budget that I have to I get to release in March.
Okay,
great,
smart.
Well, Lenny, if you could place before you get to the next section, you could place Legends of the Past question up now if you want. Just didn't want to interrupt that section. There it is. Go ahead. This is from our audience. Lenny, read that.
Unmute yourself. Unmute
Your
yourself.
mic's not on.
Sure. Let me know when you
The
want.
question is, Jared, our children, put it back up, Lenny. Our children are suffering from programs that have been cut. What are your plans to help get our children back on track? I guess the good thing to say here is keep them out of the streets, have programs, have something for them to do.
Yeah. So I'm not sure which programs they're talking about being cut, but to I think get to the point of the question is, I will be engaged with the residents so that they can share what their needs are, but I'm also very much aware. I've been doing this for the past 2 years, and I've been engaged in the community for the past 20 years. And so I'm very much aware of the violence interruption programs. I'm aware of the returning citizens programs for people coming out of jails, getting them reestablished. I've met with people who work on drug awareness to try to make sure our teens don't get involved with drugs. I'm aware of mentorship programs. I've been with the Alpha mentoringship program at the middle school. Bishop Charles Carroll does wonderful work with Black Wall Street. So I'm aware of many various programs that are out there. That some of them rely on city funding for grants, some don't. So I'm happy to address if you tell me a specific program that they might be referring to. But I'm just trying to share my needs assessment approach.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now, well, you
already set it up a little bit, because you even dropped a few innovative things that you want to start off on your first 100 days. Since we're on innovation, just share any other innovations or fresh ideas that'll bring out that you'll bring out to address the issues in the Annapolis area.
Sure. So a big part of what I want to work on is make government easier to work with and less expensive. And so currently, whether you have applications for permits or you have recreation, there's too much red tape, too much bureaucracy. So let me give you some specific ideas. On the technology side, I'm going to incorporate AI much more than we have, where AI can help you streamline and review what you're doing. There's a lot of research that we can quickly access through AI, comparing our process to other jurisdictions and cities. But I want to give you some specific examples of what we can do. So take permitting, for instance. I've applied for a number of permits as a business owner here in the city. And when you go to the city's website, there's so little information there. What I've suggested and asked our director to think about doing is take the most common applications that planning and zoning permitting gets. Take the versions of those completed applications that they consider the gold standard and post those gold standard applications on the website. So if I need to do a simple thing like my front porch has rotted wood and I want to go figure out what kind of permit I need, I can see what a completed application looks like and then match it to my own situation. Correct. It's not only better for the resident because they get guidance on how to do it, it's actually better for the city because now they're getting applications that come in correctly filled out.
Right.
And so that actually reduces costs and creates efficiency in our permitting department and makes Annapolis a lot friendlier and less expensive to do business with.
No question. I can definitely see that play out. Yes. And actually you can have them actually walk through it with them, especially with the AI situation. That's incredible. How do you feel about the role in AI in politics? There's good and there's bad. I mean, I guess we can talk about how it's distorting the truth somewhat, but I'm not sure if that's AI or is that just the fact that we don't have people checking, the truth and checking facts. And how do you feel about both things? I'm sorry to throw a bunch of stuff at you, but the fact that we don't have fact checkers out here, so people start saying lies over and over again and people feel it's true. And I'm sure you see that out in the streets when you talk to people. But and then the role of AI.
Yeah, it's the role of AI and social media, frankly, as a separate issue, has certainly amplified the distortion of the truth, and it's really frustrating, to be honest. I have no problem with someone saying I disagree with you and having a discussion, and maybe we can just agree to disagree. What bothers me a lot more than that is when I feel that people know certain things are not true and they repeat it and they're false, and they make they create vacuums of information. They create these wild speculations and conspiracy theories that, here in Annapolis, I feel like a lot of us know each other. It's a small town, and any of us who put ourselves out there care about our reputations. And so it's really upsetting to see people try to diminish you and create false information. AI just makes it that much worse because they could create a video piece that makes it seem like somebody's saying, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I thought I saw them say it. They said this bad thing, and it gets repeated as if it was the truth. So it's a scary world we live in, no doubt, on those issues. And I don't have a perfect answer other than I'm going to try really hard about improving our communication and being transparent. One of the things I want to introduce, talk about innovation, is when the city gets questions, I want to have a FAQ page on the city's main website. I listen to all the city council meetings now, for instance, and I hear a lot of questions. And it's not debate; it's this public hearing where people get to say whatever's on their mind. You never hear the other side of the story, and so I want to create a format where, whether from public hearing or through social media, whenever we get these questions and accusations, we have a chance to respond. And so I want to have what's called like one source of the truth.
That is very, very important for people to know that they can go somewhere and get the truth. Because, like you said, there's a lot of questions, but there's a lot of people saying different things in like an echo chamber. And then people kind of gravitate to what they want to hear. So if it's kind of what they want to hear, even if it's not the truth, people seem to run with it. But last and final question, and I'm going to get you off the hook. How do you make sure everyone truly has a voice and is heard? And you kind of touched on a lot of these things. I'm going to ask you anyway. I kind of like where you're leaning into and what you're leaning into. But how does that shape your policy and legislation of your administration?
Number one, when people ask for help or they have a need or they have a concern, no one in city government, certainly not with me as mayor, asks, who did you vote for? What's your political party? And so I think we need people to just feel comfortable that they need to come in and ask the questions. But a big part of that is our culture. And that's something I talk about a lot because in my business, my hardware store, culture is very important. And we have a culture of customer service where you're treated as a guest. And not that you're necessarily always right. I don't say the customer's always right, but you are our guest. And we want you to feel respected and heard. And we're going to try to get to yes as easily and fast as possible. I want to take that model of customer service and bring it to our city government. And so I don't have people tell me, well, I got this really disrespectful email. I got this really disrespectful response in a meeting with city employees. I felt like I wasn't respected. We need to change that culture. And even if ultimately they're asking for something the city can't do, we need to try to respect that person and try to get to yes as quickly, as fast as possible. But then the other point I want to answer to this question is making sure we're reaching out. So rather than having just City Hall be our base, and it will be a base, but I'm going to have town hall meetings in every ward and rotate where they are in the wards multiple times per year so that we're going out to the community and make it a little easier for people to provide their input. I want to mention a youth council. I want to have, I had outreach to the Black community, and I've had like a Black business owner brunch. The Hispanic community, seniors feel unheard. Young people don't feel respected and part of the process. And we need to make sure just whatever you consider the average person is still heard. I've also heard the concern, well, if all this focus is on these not little, but smaller groups, what about, we need to make sure everybody's heard is the bottom line. Everybody's valued, everybody's heard, and we will work together to do that. And that's partly maintaining diversity in our administration as well. It's another element of that.
That is. And it's very important because at that point in time, you have a representative from all of those people, because sometimes you don't see the concern because you're not in the community. So it's very important to be diverse as far as that's concerned and move forward. So I definitely appreciate your time with us. Glad you came back, and thanks for coming back. And when I got to ask you on record, drum roll, when you become mayor, listen to how I'm saying this, when you become mayor, you got to come back and see us, all right?
Well, natural. We're going to cover that in a minute.
Okay. Oh, all right. So, do you want me to answer that
we
now,
just covered it. I still want the answer.
Hold on. You can hold that one for a minute. You can hold that one for a minute, Jerry. Hold that one for a minute. Go ahead, natural. You're up, Nat.
It's definitely not me, but I'll take it. If your choice is hard shell crabs or crab cakes, what beverage would you choose?
Older, I'd say crab cakes. It used to be hard shell crabs. Now I'm too tired now to do hard shell crabs all the time. I'd rather just get my crab cake.
You can go through a whole lot faster, indeed.
Yep.
So, what's your beverage of choice? To wash that down. Natty.
So
Budweiser.
Your options are kind of funny in that they represent where I went to school. So I went to school in St. Louis, Washington University, home of Budweiser. So certainly I've had my fair share of Budweiser. Went to law school at University of Maryland, downtown Baltimore. Had my share of Natty Boh. And Annapolis is more of an IPA town. So I guess it depends on which stage of life you're asking me.
Well,
that's a great answer. That is a great answer.
You're flexible. Let me say you're flexible.
Yeah, all three are good. I wouldn't turn any of the three down.
Jared, would you be in favor of a Navy midshipman. I grew up a 10-minute walk from the Navy Stadium. Would you be in favor of Navy midshipmen versus Maryland Terps annual football game, kind of like they had with Notre Dame, alternated between
I love this idea. This is a fantastic idea. Who thought of this idea?
I don't know.
I did.
If they play Notre Dame, they could play Maryland.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And so, I since Navy is the hometown, I guess the right place to start is with them, and see if we could make a challenge to Maryland Terps.
Maryland.
And see if we can get that started.
Is there any way you could maybe, once you're a mayor, which you're going to be mayor, is there any way you can hey?
Call up Wes Moore and say, hey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it would be. I know one thing. It would be great for the city. That's for sure. No question
It
about it.
would absolutely.
It would be awesome for the. I mean, we could even do something like make a. You know how sometimes teams have a cup, some kind of cup.
Yep.
And they say challenge or some kind of challenge. It would be the crab.
Keep it for the year.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
What did you call it? The crab cup.
I'm a big fan of sports and recreation and using sports to bring people together. So this fits right in with that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Tell them you got it for the Knight brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I will. I'll give you credit.
All right, Jared. And Arden, I apologize because this was supposed to be your question. And because it was supposed to be your question, I'm going to let you ask the question, Arden. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, brother. It's fine. Keep on going.
All right, Jared. What's the first song we'll be pumping through the speakers that night at your big celebration? What are you coming out to? What's going to be your theme music, Jared? Coming out.
I have probably a very unsatisfactory answer. I will be delegating that question to somebody.
I got one for you. I got an idea.
Clear, I love music.
Go ahead, Lanny. Throw your idea out there.
Hold up, Jerry was
put out that song that says, "All I do is win, 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 no matter what."
Yeah. That's who is that?
Great,
who's that artist?
So
DJ Khaled. Is that DJ Khaled?
That would be awesome.
The type of music I listen to is like Bruce Springsteen, and that's not exactly like first song. I guess even I don't even know. So know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Throwing a party is probably not my strength. So we have started to talk about party planning, but that is something I quickly delegate to someone who is much better than that.
But listen, once you have those things kind of lined up, make sure you text me, okay?
All right.
Now, Arden, you can ask that question.
Go ahead, Arden. Now, Arden.
See, that's not my question. See, my question is, when you win in November, can you promise to make it a periodic return back to the Knight Brothers show?
I'm going to do my best to do that.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to do my best to do that. I appreciate you guys have been fun, and I appreciate your interest in the election and having me on your show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time. We definitely appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jared, for your time. I mean, we realize it's time. And you've been a great guest, man. You're fun. Easy to get along with, man. And I can see why people gravitate towards you. No question about it, man.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a good time.
All right. Good night, Jared.
Congratulations, Jared.
Great evening. Congratulations.
You're the best, man.
Thanks, guys. Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Good night.
All right, y'all. That was possible future mayor of Annapolis, Jared Littmann for mayor.
Yes.
I mean, just a fantastic guy, first of all. Great candidate, great ideas. Really liked his perspectives. I mean, second time on the show. Hoping for some great things for the city. Put it on for your city. And, I think that guy would do a fantastic job. What do you think, fellas?
I think he will, too. He's very engaged. He seems to have a plan. He's talking about a 100-day plan. Again, he's very engaged. I think he'll do great for my hometown.
Yeah,
what about y'all?
Yeah. I go ahead, Arden. You want to say something? I'm of the same opinion, no question. I think he's a great candidate. I think he's going to be very good for the city. He's very energetic. like you said, he seems to have a plan. He's already putting things in place now. I like the idea of what he said when he was talking to Ard about the inclusion of others. He wants to get other people's opinions on things, which I think is important. Getting feedback from other groups in the decision-making process. Now, ultimately, that's going to fall on him, but at least get the input from others. I think that's very, very important. So I'm excited about that. And the relationships he's already established and the endorsements that he has behind him at this point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My closing thoughts for tonight, just my closing thoughts. These are just my closing thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, you know where I'm going, right?
I know where you're going.
But it's not about you. It's about the Ravens fans. I just want to tell them, look, hang in there. Hang in there. The season is still young. It's still opportunity. There's still opportunity.
I got my head down, but I'm going to put my head back
I mean,
up.
y'all in Kansas City, I get it. Just hang in there, bro. Y'all good. Y'all good. Y'all good. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Anyway, just jokingly. Look, next week, I think Q is out. Q, you out?
Yeah.
Right? Q's on
But the guys will be here. They'll be here.
We have a fantastic show next week. The Q out on the waters again, taking another cruise. But I got some fantastic health information. You do not want to miss this information about health. It's just something that you really want to see, because anybody can do this, and it has tremendous benefits. And I don't want to,
give it away.
Unveil it tonight, but I just want to let you know that you really want to see this. So, anything? Arden, you got a closing thought, Kenny?
Yes. I mean, really, I just would say, get out and not just vote. Get out and get somebody else and take them with you to vote.
Amen, Arden.
If you haven't learned anything in these last 9 to 10 months, people can talk a whole lot of stuff, but they cannot tell you that voting doesn't matter. If you see what's going on in this country right now, there's no way in hell that you can say that voting does not matter. So all of that BS, if somebody tells you that, either they just don't want to do nothing, or they just already quit on themselves and everybody else. But make sure that you do something to get yourself out to vote and take somebody with you. All right? Peace and love.
Thank you, Arden. Thank you for that, Arden. That needed to be said, brother. Peace.
Very well said, brother. Very well said. I mean, you hit it on the head. With the November elections coming up, we are facing very challenging times, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We need to get out and vote and take some type of say-so back, because what you're seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's first year.
And it's so true that we've all said it. All four of us have said it, that elections have consequences. They really do, and we're seeing that right now. And Armand Wallace, I got to call you out. You tell my Ravens suck. You can say that right now, brother, but we'll be back, man. We'll be back. I know you're riding high on the hug right now. That's okay, though, brother. It's all right.
Kind of tough. Don't talk too much in the fifth game of the season.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't talk too much, because every Doug will have its day. And we're going to come back and take a bite out of it.
How about them boys? Don't count us out.
Cowboys look good.
Don't count us out.
You know what? Right now, all of our teams are still in it, but Arden is riding high because he's also a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and they in first place right now.
Yep. Oh, body. They're rocking it. So
well,
anyway, guys.
Right now, Arden. Congratulations.
That's
right
it.
Now.
That's you don't hear me saying a whole lot, do you? Because I know it's not for long. I mean, all right, so everybody have a beautiful.
That's what NFL stands for. What does NFL stand for? And say it again.
Not for long.
That's what I'm saying. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. But,
stay thankful, baby. Stay thankful.
And shout out to Tyreek Hill. We wish you a speedy recovery. My goodness, that was a horrible.
Oh man, I'm gonna give you credit though. Your boys are playing well. I'm glad you got your quarterback back. I mean, Lenny, he's a difference maker. Jordan Daniels
Did
is.
you see that game? Yes, the last game, boy, they
Hey,
balls.
look, I love Lamar too. Even though I'm a Washington fan, I love Lamar, and I just want him back out on the field as soon as possible.
Yes,
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
So-
love Lamar. Lamar does some great things for the neighborhood and community too that people never
And
talk
quiet.
about. This brother's
And he
doing.
does them
He doesn't
quietly.
get enough flowers for that. He doesn't get enough flowers.
He does them very quietly. You know, people don't even know. So, anyway,
All right, Q,
good night.
we're gonna say farewell to you, Q, for next week.
All right,
Enjoy
man.
your
Listen,
trip.
y'all
Have a
carry
safe,
on.
good time.
And I'll be having a good time.
Be sure that.
I go to the water again.
Yes, sir. So
We'll be walking across the Atlantic Ocean.
yes, sir. Peace and love. I'll talk to y'all
Peace
later,
and love.
man. Deuces.